Jeffrey Epstein reincorporates or instates 7,904 entities in the state of Ohio as of the year 2000. From there, he re-records thousands of records affiliated with those entities and then uses these entities to essentially systematically liquidate, retitle, and transfer property targeting mineral rights, mainly coal, oil, and gas. Got that? Who was he targeting it from? Yeah, so it's very, very clear, especially based on the Blacksheep Farms Incorporated, which is set up by Voorhees, Slater, Seymour, and Peace for Epstein and Swartz and Wexner. Epstein is really picking up where Arthur Shapiro left off in '86. And what is he doing? He is forwarding land to New Albany Company, New Albany Realty, and then he's separating the mineral rights for British Petroleum. Okay? So this Eastern Ohio holding company is just Epstein and Wexner on the back end. And it's called the Mills Partition Company for a reason. What they're doing is they are hijacking Landmark Inc., the Ohio Farm Bureau, and they're separating the mills from the wells. Isn't that cute, fun? So they're separating the mineral rights and coal over to Chemical Bank. Got it? And they're using all of these like fake shell corps, many of them offshore. Got it? So this is where you'll have New Albany Company Partnership, and all of these other entities. But on the back end, this is all just Jeffrey Epstein. So sinister is it's not just agriculture and insurance and oil and gas, etc., that are hijacked or targeted. Healthcare, as well as airlines, transportation, were among the highest industries as far as entities that were reinstated with the sole purpose of defrauding Americans. This is Day and Berkman at the Standard Building in Cleveland, reincorporating Community Healthcare Inc. And so you just go through here, Community Healthcare. And then, of course, it's canceled, and then this one's reinstated. Community Healthcare. Goldman, Cole, and Putnick. It looks like Community Healthcare is incorporated to acquire, hold, own, buy, sell, convey, lease, mortgage, or otherwise encumber, rent, manage, deal with, acquire, dispose of real estate and personal property of all kinds and descriptions, to subdivide, plats, improve, develop, for the purpose of sale or otherwise real estate of all kinds, to issue, sell, or pledge bonds, promissory notes, bills of exchange, debentures, and other obligations and evidences of indebtedness payable at a specific time or times, and to demand or on the happening of a specific event or events, whether secured or unsecured. I mean, is this what you would expect from a healthcare company? Regardless of the health side, and of course the airline side of things, there's the financial side that becomes extremely, extremely targeted and pretty obvious as to what they were targeting. But Cantor Fitzgerald is basically spliced or annexed from an ownership perspective, and they create Cantor Fitzgerald Securities, which is not the same company, right? And then it kind of is liquidating assets and property to Cantor International with a K, Cantor, which again is a completely different company. But when you look at kind of like what's approved here and kind of how this goes down, it's not exactly what seems like it would be kind of street legal. There's lots of name changes too, and crazy things happening. And even though 9/11 has been 24 years, 25, a lot of this was set up to liquidate and waterfall, if you will, kind of waterfall ownership. See, there's two Cantor Internationals. We should grab that. See that? Cantor, Cantor, Cantor. Okay, well, when we go here to Cantor Fitzgerald, there was a tremendous amount of trademark manipulation ahead of 9/11. And so Cantor Fitzgerald was in World Trade Center 1. And again, you kind of dig into this. Silva. So glad to see the name. Silva is definitely affiliated. So record as of 99. Wow. Okay, so Dunn is affiliated. Schottenstein, Dunn, and Zaks, or whatever it is. Looks like this is saying that they were merged, and it was faxed in, August of 99, claiming that mergers took place all the way back to, 92. Harry Needleman. We'll go through it, but it kind of gets a little, what do you say, targeted maybe? Like, hey, did they kind of know about 9/11? Maybe. Well, then you go down here. Some of these don't have registration numbers, and you can see that they've been generated in succession. So they're newly formed. And what is happening here is it's a liquidation of securities and trademarks through aliases. Look at this. I know, right? Transform, Senior Brands. But it goes through Dallas, Texas, a lot of it, especially when we're talking about anything that was oil and gas related. JP Morgan Chase is definitely a part of it. CSC is the external company that manages all of the entities, and they were basically integrated on the back end as part of this network through Jeffrey Epstein and the U.S. Virgin Islands. It's a fact. And what they're doing is they're also converting trademarks, so you see all this stuff transferring and you don't realize, like, oh, that was nationwide, Yak Access, like, what were they holding? Head of fixed income. Yeah, like New South Access and Environmental. You come to find out, oh, those were patents developed by the Texas company. You just don't see it there, Tropical Foods. Basic Energy, David's Bridal. Isn't that crazy? But look at all these trademarks. And I mean, I'll have to go back to some of the oldies. Like, some of these trademarks are tremendously important to the United States, and they're basically splicing them. Sears. So they're stealing, actually, Sears is kind of involved in this, but so we should actually look at the Sears brands. People think Sears is like nothing, but wouldn't you believe that on the back end, Sears as an entity is set up to liquidate a lot of this stuff. Pacific Bay, Sears brands. Who knew? KCPIP, that's intellectual property. I mean, this gets extremely, extremely, extremely sinister. But the fact is, these poor people trading on a world of experience. Can you believe this? I mean, they're kind of like backdating this. Scanning on demand. So Cantor Fitzgerald Securities is composed of Cantor Fitzgerald, a Nevada corporation, and Cantor Fitzgerald, a New York general partnership. Okay, so there's no application or anything. It basically is just the registration certificate. And then it shows that basically it's February 13th. And it's Cantor Fitzgerald EBS. But this is fully registered on 2001. Let's look at the registration. There's 2 registration certificates. Okay, let me see what this says. So their brokerage services in the field of Environmental Protection Agency admissions allowances. Are you kidding me? Glad you brought it up. Because they wouldn't have been able to frack and do some of the things that they've done without changing laws and poisoning Americans. Glad they brought it up. So this is basically sent in 2007 to be backdated to 93. Bananas. Or even 92. Of course, you got to change the address because the building doesn't exist anymore, remember?